All right, good evening, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started with our May Town Council meeting. And we will start with our invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Evans.
All right, good evening. We invite any of you that wish to pray with us to enter into prayer at this time. Lord, we come this evening in a spirit of humility for the trust that has been placed in us to serve the members of our community. We ask that we shall not betray that trust and we shall divorce ourselves of any bias or personal interest as it pertains to the work that we do. We ask for the blessing of protection around all of those who show up to serve and that our judgments be made right and our intentions be true. We ask that the judgments and the decisions that we make this evening shall be for the betterment of those in the entirement of our Knightdale community. For these things we ask, amen.
Thank you all for joining us. Tonight, we are pleased to highlight Ansley Tripp, a senior from Thales Academy who will be graduating in just a few weeks. Ansley is truly a part of our Knightdale family, as she is the daughter of Assistant Town Manager Dustin Tripp. During her time at Thales Academy, Ansley was on the varsity cheerleading team. After graduation, she plans to attend Meredith College, where she will study mathematical engineering. We are so proud of you, and we know that you will go on to do great and amazing things at Meredith College and beyond. We wish you all the best. So now, everyone, let's give it up for Ansley as she makes, as she leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much again. We can't wait to see what the future holds for you. All right. Now we are going to have the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? Questions, comments, or motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Majority approves. Motion carries. We will go with the agenda as is for the evening, starting with our presentations, recognitions, and awards. First is recognition of Lady Knights. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have some champions in the room with us. From the very beginning, the Knightdale Lady Knights flag football team was built on hard work, dedication, and trust. What started as a group of athletes learning the game and finding their rhythm quickly grew into a family determined to make history. Through every practice, through every challenge, and tough matchup, they discovered that winning isn't just about talent. It's about believing in each other, communicating, and playing as one unit. This two-time championship team earned every victory from the ground up. They grew together, they pushed each other to improve, and they never backed down when adversity came their way. Every player contributed, every coach invested in their growth, and every moment helped shape a championship culture built on discipline, resilience, and unity. More than trophies, this team represents growth. They represent sisterhood and the power of coming together for a shared purpose. They proved that when individuals unite with one goal and one heartbeat, greatness follows. 2 championships down, and the legacy of the Lady Knights is only just beginning. As proud members of the Knightdale Football Association, these athletes carry forward a tradition that has served the youth of Knightdale since 1968. For more than 5 decades, KFA has built character, confidence, and community through youth sports. And its girls flag team stands as one of the strongest and most inspiring representations of what that program is all about. Please visit www.knightdaleknights.org to learn more about the Lady Knights and the Knightdale Football Association. So, to the Lady Knights, to all of the coaches, we congratulate you on your accomplishments thus far. We are so proud of what you have done and proud of what you will do going forward. We wish you all the best in nationals. Make us proud. Thank you so much for being here. And now if you would all come forward. In case anyone wants to help us get to nationals, there's a QR code right there. All right. Thank you again for being here, for sharing your story. We're so proud of you. Congratulations. And we can't wait to see what's going to happen. Just sharing again, they could use some additional support. So if anybody is willing to help support them as they go towards nationals, I think that information was shared. Please be willing to do that because we'd love to see what they're going to do in July. So awesome. Next is our recognition of student volunteer, Ms. Morris.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Lauren, you come up here and join me. This evening, we're going to recognize Lauren, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why we're recognizing her, and don't everybody stare at her. She's a little shy, okay? But when I read about her, you will understand why we are recognizing her for the wonderful person that she is. And I do want to give a special thank you to Councilor Latacious Morris in working with us to make sure that we can recognize Lauren. So Lauren, in recognition for her outstanding leadership, dedication to service, and commitment to making a positive impact in the community, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a few of the things that she has done. Lauren is a participant of the Delta Academy of the Knightdale Wake Forest chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and just recently completed her reign as the chapter's 2024 Little Miss Jabberwock Scholarship Queen, where she raised over $32,000. Lauren has a given heart and tries to find ways to help others who are less fortunate. From December of 2025 to February of this year, Lauren received donations to purchase items for care bags that she prepared and passed out to individuals who were homeless. The care bags included sleeping bag, tarps, hats, gloves, scarves, socks, hand warmers, and snacks. She and her mother were able to make a distribution drop-off at the homeless encampment in Wake County, and in addition to that, they distributed items as far away as Charlotte. Ever since she was a Girl Scout, she has donated Girl Scout cookies to individuals who are homeless or displaced. She regularly donates to the Salvation Army's Women and Children's Shelter of Wake County, and to date has donated close to 1,200 boxes of cookies. But not only that, she recently hit the mark of, was it 12,000 cookies? 10,000 plus cookies that she has sold to date since she's been a Girl Scout. Lauren also believes that we should think about how to save the environment. As a Bronze Award winner of Girl Scouts, and she's working towards her Silver Award, 2 of her cadets, along with herself, are working on a project called Carry with Dignity. This project will provide duffel bag luggage to middle school children who are in foster care. Now, I don't know if you guys know anything about kids in foster care, but she's working to raise awareness that foster care children often do not have anything to carry their personal items in. One of the things she wants to do is she's hoping that the luggage will provide them with some comfort, in addition to giving them some items so that it will allow the foster care children to carry their items with dignity. Lauren, out of all the things that she does, is a middle school student at Wake Forest Middle School. She's a member of the National Honor Society. She's a member of the track team. She plays bass guitar, keyboard, and violin. Where do you find the time? One of the things I want to say, her passion for service and community leadership serves as an inspiration to us all. The town proudly recognizes her contributions and wishes her continued success in all of her future endeavors. Lauren, I'm so proud of you. Look, come on up here, give me a little love, girl. I ain't gonna bite you. Look at your mom, look at you. And now we're gonna invite Mayor Day down to take a couple of pictures with you. So I told y'all she's shy, but that heart is not shy. Let's give Lauren a round of applause.
What an amazing moment to be able to recognize one of our youth that is doing such great work, and somebody that's doing something not for recognition, but to be able to take this time to recognize and say that we see what you're doing and we appreciate it. So thank you so much. Thank you to Mom, because if it wasn't for you, Miss Bridget Wall-Lennon, it wouldn't happen without your support. So thank you for your support for her as well. And thank you to the father as well, because if it wasn't for you, then it wouldn't be your support as well. So thank you as well. And I want to thank Ms. Morris for that beautiful presentation, and thank Counselor Morris, because thank you for bringing this to our attention to give us this space and this opportunity to be able to share this with the community. So thank you all. Next is recognition of outgoing board member, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. A few months ago, I stood before you and introduced this mythical concept of the Advisory Board Hall of Fame. And I'm so happy to be here tonight to introduce a new inductee into that, as we recognize Chris Parker as he comes off of the Board of Adjustment. Chris has served on several advisory boards for the town over time, including the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, the Land Use Review Board, and the Board of Adjustment. He's also held leadership roles in each one of those stints with those advisory boards, helping to guide the council and advise the council on different items from Parks and Rec to land use decisions, and was certainly part of some of the largest land use decisions we've made in the recent past that really will have an impact on Knightdale today, but also tomorrow. It's very bittersweet to see Chris go, as we know he is leaving for a professional opportunity and promotion. But I know the legacy he has left in Knightdale and want to make sure I honor that tonight and recognize him for all of his time, all the hours his family gave to the town as he was away in the evenings, and also recognize that he's been a Knightdale resident majority of his life. And sometimes we had those tough decisions. He always kind of said to the residents, I'm one of you. I'm here with you. I understand what you're saying, but I'm here to do what's best for Knightdale. And so for that, we will wish the best for Chris in his future endeavors and want to recognize him tonight with a plaque that reads, "In appreciation and recognition of your dedicated service to the citizens, staff, and elected officials of the town of Knightdale for his time on the Board of Adjustment from 2022 to 2026, Chris Parker."
Thank you again for your service. Thank you for taking your time. Anytime we get a chance to thank one of our board members, most of the time it's not seen, but they are taking their time to share and to support the town. So we appreciate all that you've done and wish you the best going forward. Next is introduction of Stormwater Inspector, Mr. Bunton.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm really excited to introduce to you tonight Daniel Pierce. Daniel joins our stormwater team as our sediment and erosion control inspector. This is a position that we've looked for a good while. Daniel's originally from Wisconsin, moved to Raleigh here before high school, graduated from UNC Chapel Hill. But he spent the last several years working for a very prominent engineering firm as a third-party inspector. And so we're really bringing someone in with a lot of experience, a lot of certifications that we can certainly put to use immediately. So we're really excited to have him on board. So Mayor, Council, Daniel, Mayor, Council.
Welcome. All right. And next, introduction of planner and planning tech, Mr. Brown.
Once again, Mayor and Council, it's not often I get to come up here and introduce two employees. So first, I want to thank the council, the town management for the investment you've made in the Development Services Department this fiscal year. Recent census data last week showed Knightdale as the 9th fastest growing municipality in North Carolina, 27th fastest by population increase in the United States of America for cities and towns over 20,000 people. So we certainly need the help, and we are certainly glad to have Tina and Dylan with us. So Tina Torres comes to us with a multitude of experience from a very broad range of different industries, including technology firms, hospitality, and most recently banking. She, like most people, decided that the best career path would be to be a planner when she could choose, and so she is currently enrolled in the Arizona State University to obtain a degree in urban and regional planning. She will graduate this fall. We are very excited to have her with her background in customer service. She has really hit the ground running, providing us support in the planning technician role. So welcome, Tina, to the town of Knightdale. Next, we have Dylan Dylan is no stranger to Knightdale. I know we have our internship program that works very, very well, and we now know how extraordinarily well it works when we get to welcome talent back into these walls. So Dylan was previously one of our management interns while he was pursuing his Master's of Public Administration at North Carolina State University. He also got his undergraduate degree from Campbell. He came to us most recently serving time with the town of Irwin as their planning and zoning administrator. He is a certified zoning official and comes to us with a lot of skills, knowledge, and mostly a desire to be here in Knightdale. So we're certainly glad to welcome Dylan back. So welcome Dylan to the town of Knightdale as well.
All right, thank you so much. Welcome. Glad to have both of you as well. And next is police officer introduction and oaths. Chief Capps.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We always appreciate you giving us an opportunity to recognize and honor the men and women who choose to serve, not just in this profession, but who choose to serve here in Knightdale. As you heard Chris mention, this is a rapidly growing community, and we know that police officers, law enforcement officers, they have a choice about where they can serve. And so when they commit to serve with us, we want to take a moment to celebrate that and to recognize that. This evening, it is my happy pleasure to be able to introduce to you Mr. Rayshawn Wilson as he is making his way to the podium with his lovely fiancée, Halima. I want to say a few words about Rayshawn. He is no stranger to service. He has spent the last 4 years serving with the Cecil County Sheriff's Office in Maryland. He is also a specialist in the United States Army Reserve, and so brings with him a sense of service, a commitment to people, a commitment to the public. And I know we're going to be able to leverage that for the advantage of not only our department, but for the people here in Knightdale as well. Mayor, I believe that you're going to be helping us out with the oath of office.
All right, if you're ready, if you want to lift your right hand, put your left on. And then you just repeat after me. I, and then state your name.
I, Rayshawn Wilson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as police officer.
as police officer.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
As Mayor's making her way back to the podium, to her seat. Rayshawn, if you'll stay with me, please. As is customary with us, it's important to issue a very important public challenge. When our officers stand here and they take this oath, they are making a public promise. And with that public promise comes very important expectations. Now, Rayshawn and I have already talked about these extensively from the time that he and I met during the hiring process and recently during a lunch together where we emphasized those core fundamental principles that serve as the framework for the culture of our organization, what we affectionately refer to as the 5 rules. Rule number 1 is simply this: the mission comes first. And our mission, Rayshawn, is about other people. Always put the mission first. Everything that you do is secondary to the mission. Rule number 2, everything that you do, the way that you engage, the way that you behave, the decisions that you make must be aligned with our organization's core values. Those core values represent the things that we believe in the most. They are our identity, and so it's important to make sure that your behavior, everything that you do aligns with those core values. Rule number 3, tell 100% of the truth, 100% of the time. Honesty really is the best policy, and it's the best way to make sure that you protect your reputation, the reputation of this agency, and the reputation of this profession. Rule number 4, remember this oath. In this oath, you didn't swear allegiance to any person. You didn't swear allegiance to me. You swore an allegiance to the constitutional principles that hold our republic together. You swore a pledge to protect and serve the people of this community. Never betray that oath. And rule number 5, simply this: give everything your best effort. No matter what the situation, no matter how much you know about the situation, no matter your resources, just give everything your best effort. And I'm firmly convinced that if you'll put those 5 rules in front of everything that you do, everything else has a way of taking care of itself. We're proud of you, glad to have you on board. Welcome.
So many great moments today, and another great moment anytime that we're able to add new staff members. We are excited and looking forward to the great work that they're going to do here in the town of Knightdale. So next is Commit to Civility Award recognition, Mr. Summers.
Thank you, Mayor Day. So we find ourselves at that part of the program again where the room empties out and we do the business of the town at hand. So I asked the mayor if I could have the privilege of talking about an award and a recognition that you have received recently as a town council. As a credentialed manager, the International County City Management Association recognizes that a lack of civility is the #1 threat to local government administration. That sentiment is echoed by many national and state agencies here. It is the problem. It is the elephant in the room. How do we serve communities when we can't serve one another? Incivility leads to polarized communities, toxic public meetings, staff burnout, and high turnover of vital institutional knowledge. And most importantly, it degrades the public's trust in our ability to hold these positions and do this job. As one of the fastest growing towns in North Carolina, one of the fastest growing towns in the United States of America for our size, you have every right to fight and argue and disagree. This is the perfect breeding ground for conflict because the resources are so scarce and the pressure is consistently so very high. Yet you choose not to do that, which I think is not only a wonderful reflection of you, it's a wonderful reflection of the staff and the citizens who choose to call this community home. So you were awarded the Commit to Civility Award at the City Vision Conference 2 weeks ago. There are approximately 553 municipal governments in the state of North Carolina, from the biggest to the smallest. By my estimation, only 12 communities have chosen to make this commitment to serving their community in a way that their citizens would be proud of. Nobody wants to see elected officials fighting, managers making poor decisions, staff not serving well. You are the tip of the spear. It begins with you, right? I am a reflection of your will and your expectations, and the staff is a reflection of my leadership expectations and what I want from them and operational commitments. But it always begins with you. So if I look at this program, and I'm sorry I brought it on my computer because my eyes just don't work anymore. This is what the League of Municipalities says about what you've signed up to do. Civility is about disagreeing without disrespect, seeking common ground as a starting point for dialogue about differences, listening past one's preconceptions, and teaching others to do the same. Civility is the hard work of staying present, even with those with deep-rooted and fierce disagreements. Civility is a prerequisite for civic action because healthy communication helps government officials, staff, and constituents maintain mutual respect. Efficiency and effectiveness are critical to the governing process. Different opinions and views are critical to a healthy democracy, regardless of whether opinions are shaped by race, class, age, or ideology. So the pillars that you have agreed to voluntarily of your own accord are that you will embrace courtesy and consideration. You will acknowledge your colleagues respectfully, welcoming feedback. You will embrace active listening. You will prioritize empathy among one another. You will ask questions. You will be kind. You will seek impact over intent. You will practice self-restraint. You're not going to take it personally. And you will call out incivility when it rears its head. What a bunch of noble traits here that you're willing to do. You don't have to do this, right? But the reality is you choose to do this. You are one of less than 15 communities in this very wonderful, fast-growing state who has said, we'll raise our hand. We always do. We're happy to step in this space and lead by example. The example in which you have consistently led does show that we're an organization to be proud of. We consistently get very high marks, thank you, on the citizen surveys. The employee satisfaction surveys are very high, and it goes beyond what we pay our employees, the facilities we provide them. It just is a culture of serving other people and being humble and grateful to stand in this space. So I get to experience Mayor Days when she reads the resolutions, right? So this is like crazy. I'm like visiting in this space, and I always tease her because like when we give her these resolutions that are like 3 and 4 pages, I'm like, oh man, that one was rough. I don't know how she got through it, but I want to read your resolution, right? And I want to extend my gratitude toward each of you. As a representative of 185 employees, and if the budget gets passed, we're going to be 195 in a couple weeks, but we are grateful, right? And you should hear it from us as a staff, because I know you also hear it from the citizens. This never goes out of style, and this never goes unnoticed, more importantly. So your resolution reads as follows, and I forgot my reading glasses, but I think I can make this work. This is a resolution you were awarded from the North Carolina League of Municipalities. Whereas civilities is about disagreeing without disrespect, seeking common ground as a starting point for dialogue about differences, listening past one's preconceptions and teaching others to do the same, and where civility requires hard work to stay present, even those with deep-rooted and fierce disagreements, because we recognize that different opinions and views are crucial to a healthy democracy, regardless of whether opinions are shaped by race, class, age, or ideology. And whereas civility is a prerequisite for civil action, healthy communication, helping government officials, staff, and constituents maintain mutual respect, efficiency and effectiveness are crucial to the governing process. And whereas the League of North Carolina League of Municipalities Commit to Civility Certificate Program engages and challenges municipal officials to embrace civility throughout the course of their work within their communities, and it equips leaders with the information and skills needed to maintain composure and move through emotionally charged situations with a respectful and solutions-oriented approach. And whereas the Commit to Civility certificate program requires at least 75% of the municipal governing board to participate in the program's training, sign an individual pledge committing to conducting municipal business with civility and courtesy to others, and adopt a resolution pledging to practice and promote civility within the municipality. And whereas the town of Knightdale accepts the tenets of civility and has completed the required steps of the Commit to Civility certificate program as described above, now therefore it be resolved that the North Carolina League of Municipalities, through the undersigned, do name the town of Knightdale a city of civility, and it was signed May 7th, 2026. You were doing this before somebody gave you a resolution, right? You were the cool kids before we had to go and get the award at the big lunch. But you're good. and you're worthy, and I'm really proud of you, if it means anything coming from me. And what I want selfishly is I want to capture this with you in a picture, and then I want to find a place in these council chambers to hang this resolution as a reminder to anybody who comes in these council chambers what the expectation for decorum and decency would be in serving our citizens. So let's give a round of applause to our elected officials. I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you that part. Would you? That's unfortunate.
Thank you so much, Mr. Summers. Thank you for the words that you shared. Thank you for taking the moment to recognize that this did take extra effort and extra time. So I thank the council members that went, thank you all for going through this and committing through this process. So, yeah. Next, for Mental Health Awareness Month, we have a proclamation. Mental Health Awareness Month serves as an opportunity to increase understanding of mental health conditions, reduce stigma, encourage treatment and recovery, and promote access to resources and support services. Mental health challenges affect people of every age, race, background, and socioeconomic status. More than 1 in 5 adults in North Carolina has experienced mental illness in the past year. Youth mental health remains a concern, with more than 1 in 3 North Carolina high school students reporting feelings of sadness and hopelessness. Research shows that positive social interactions, access to quality education, social and emotional skills, decent work, safe neighborhoods, and strong community ties can significantly improve mental well-being. So therefore, I, Jessica Day, Mayor of the town of Knightdale, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the town of Knightdale, and I encourage residents to support one another, to have open conversations about mental health, and promote awareness, acceptance, and hope throughout the community. Next on the agenda is our public comment period. This is a time for anyone who wishes to speak to the council on any item that is not currently on the agenda. If you would, you may come forward at this time. All right, then we will move to report on citizens' inquiries. Are there any reports on citizens' inquiries?
I did just want to mention it during the comment period that we had all received an email regarding the Mingo Creek Trail and some of the practices that we have in maintaining the Mingo Creek Trail, and that had been shared with everyone, shared with staff to follow up, and that probably the start of a larger conversation.
Thank you for sharing that.
I just want to make a note that there's been a lot of work regards to parking and signs at Popular Creek subdivision. Their community has been truly engaged about making sure that we figure out new and improved ways to monitor their traffic speed.
Okay, thank you. Any additional? All right, if not, then we'll move to the consent agenda. Any questions or comments about the consent agenda? Or motion to approve?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Majority approves, motion carries. We will move to our old business with ZTA-1-26, Crash Safety Data Text Amendment. Mr. Foley.
Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. I'm here tonight to present the proposed ZTA-1-26 staff-led text amendment for a final vote tonight. Here we go. So where we're at in the process is this was brought to you at the Town Council work session back in April and joint public hearing as well, and last week to LURB. And tonight it is here for a final vote with the recommended advisory statement from LURB. So the text amendment deals entirely with just chapter 12.3 of the UDO, which is the development standards, specifically subsection J, which contains anything and everything related to the transportation impact analysis process. This text amendment is further amending the UDO to allow for the requirement of performing crash data analysis as part of that TIA process. So the purpose of this is to continue the town's commitment to safety and Vision Zero, as well as check off an item from the Safety Action Plan from 2024. This, in part with a text amendment that was done back in 2024, accomplishes this action item from that plan, further emphasizing safety and giving us additional opportunities to identify safety issues around town and rectify those. So a summary of the public engagement. There was a public hearing last month. There was no comment received from the public. There was some discussion had between staff, town council, and LURB members, which is kind of summarized on slide here. This was just clarification regarding the process and how it might work. This did not lead to any changes to the proposed text amendment. And LURB last week, there was unanimous recommendation for approval. As you all know, North Carolina general statute requires that a governing body advise and provide a written recommendation on whether a proposed action is consistent with the comprehensive plan and adopt that statement prior to any action. So with that, the forwarded recommended advisory statement from the LURB, I will read for the record, was in favor of the text amendment. It reads, the proposed zoning text amendment is consistent with the Knightdale Next 2035 comprehensive plan's goal of determining effective public policy that provides an ongoing framework for informed and directed public investment in private development. Further, it is reasonable and in the public interest as it aligns the town's unified development ordinance with the stated goals of the Knightdale Safety Action Plan and aids in establishing a safe, multimodal transportation system and aids in considering land use and transportation investments together. With that, that concludes my presentation tonight, and it is staff's recommendation to adopt the LURB recommended advisory statement, adopt ordinance 25-05-20-001, and approve ZTA-1-26. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments?
I look forward to these starting to come through. I think it's a good move, and thank staff for really working hard to get this put in place, and so really looking forward to it. So thank you. If there's no others, I'll make a motion to adopt LURB recommended advisory statement, adopt ordinance 2605-20-001, and approve ZTA 1-26.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Majority approves, motion carries. Thank you so much. And next is ZMA-4-25, Overlook on Old Cruise. Mr. Lewis.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present an update for Overlook on Old Cruise. As a reminder, this is a 30-acre parcel off of Old Cruise Road at 1712 Old Cruise Road. It's currently zoned rural transition, and it is currently being used as a residential parcel. As I mentioned, it's zoned rural transition. Just to the east is another parcel zoned rural transition. To the north is the Copart site, which is zoned manufacturing and industrial. And to the west and south are phases of the Brio subdivision that are currently under construction, Zone GR3 and NMX. The applicant is proposing a rezoning to General Residential 8 with a planned unit development, which would allow for up to 8 units an acre, although the site is showing a 4.3 unit per acre design. With 131 residential lots and about 13, almost 14 acres of recreational open space spread throughout. And we find ourselves tonight at the end of the general project timeline with a town council decision. But to rewind a little bit, a joint public hearing was held last month on April 16th, and we received comments on public infrastructure design, comprehensive plan consistency, the design of lots, and the density and recreational open space, and we'll go through all of these in just a moment. On May 11th, so just a couple weeks ago, the Land Use Review Board reviewed this case and discussed the comprehensive plan future place type, guiding principles within the comprehensive plan, recreational open space and greenways. They voted by a vote of 4-1 to recommend denial of their case and forwarded this advisory statement that reads, the proposed zoning map amendment is inconsistent with the Knightdale Next version 2 2035 comprehensive plan. While the property is located within a designated target growth area intended to serve as a new vibrant activity center for the entirety of Knightdale, the proposal fails to meet the character guidelines of the neighborhood center place type. Specifically, the proposed site plan does not orient the activity center toward an internal main street or public square that serves as a dedicated gathering space for patrons and visitors. Furthermore, the proposal lacks the required frequent and widespread mix of housing types necessary for this designation. It violates the standard that blocks of the same housing type should not extend more than 2 blocks in any direction, failing to ensure an integrated environment with both retail and residential uses. The request is neither reasonable nor in the public interest. It fails to align with the guiding principles of the Knightdale Next plan, specifically concerning town-wide placemaking, community character, and housing variety, thereby failing to provide an intentional high-quality development as envisioned for this target growth area. With that in mind, just wanted to run through some of the specific elements of the plan that were discussed at the joint public hearing and with the Land Use Review Board, and some of the responses and changes that have been made to the plan. First is public infrastructure. Our UDO requires that where collectors and arterials intersect, a roundabout is required. Due to the topography of this section of Old Cruise Road, where the entrance will be located, a roundabout is unsafe and difficult to build, and therefore they are requesting a site development allowance from that. Also, we talked about some of the dead-end streets and alleys within this neighborhood. The applicant redesigned the eastern portion of the site to remove a dead-end alley to provide better circulation for residents and for service vehicles. They updated the avenue cross-section, or the cross-section of the main street that runs through the site, to be more consistent with the town's avenue cross-section, I should say, and reduced the on-street parking provided along that to be, again, more consistent with the requirements of the UDO. Comprehensive plan consistency. This is a neighborhood center future place type, which is primarily commercial or mixed use. And while this site does not contain any non-residential uses, there are a number of site design elements as described in the future place type definition for a neighborhood center that this proposal is consistent with. And again, we'll go over those in just a few slides as well. When you zoom out and look at some of the surrounding neighborhoods, particularly Brio to the west and south, this proposal is consistent with the design of those neighborhoods. The housing types are very similar, and they provide a diversity of housing opportunities within this area, not just on-site, but when you zoom out again and look at the surrounding neighborhoods, they provide additional diversity. We talked about recreational open spaces and the possibility of this neighborhood potentially becoming part of the HOA with Brio that is under construction now. That remains a possibility in the future, but that HOA is controlled by a separate entity. On-site, this master plan does provide recreational open spaces that exceed the minimum requirements and provide unique amenities throughout that are, again, unique to this proposal and provide that mix of active and passive recreational open space requirements that are UDO required. The Rural Preservation Corridor, this is an element in the Urban Small Town Framework Map that Old Cruise Road is designated as. The applicant is committed to providing enhanced landscaping, a multi-use path along Old Cruise Road, hardscaping and fencing, consistent with what is under construction along Old Cruise Road on the Brio frontage. If you've driven along that corridor recently, you have seen the beginning elements of that. And that will continue along the frontage of this site as well. And then buffers and separations between this site and surrounding sites. So to the north, there is, again, the Copart site, which has an existing buffer and screening on their site. There's a 20-foot buffer along the north side of this property. On the east side of this property, there's a 100-foot stream buffer that runs along the property line, so 50 feet on the site of, or on the side of the site, and 50 feet on the neighboring site. Road A is pulled back. The UDO requires that those street stubs be continued all the way to the property line. Due to that stream buffer and the wetlands in that area, that continuing that makes it difficult to construct and almost impossible to get permitted by state and federal officials for the environmental impact, so they have pulled it back. So that stream buffer will remain undisturbed, and the closest residential uses are about 800 feet away from any existing residential structure adjacent to this site. They are proposing a planned unit development with a base zoning district of general residential 8. And you can, as council requests, but not require additional conditions. They are asking for a few site development allowances. Some of those we have touched on already, including dimensional standards for setbacks and driveway lengths, building type standards with townhome designs, and the required distribution of uses. The applicant submitted architectural conditions and example elevations that are consistent with surrounding neighborhoods and other rezoning petitions that have been approved in the recent past. So again, zooming out, looking at what the comprehensive plan says, as with any rezoning, prior to adoption or rejection of that amendment, the governing board shall adopt a statement describing whether its action is consistent with a comprehensive plan and explaining why the board considers the action to be reasonable and in the public interest. The first map in the comprehensive plan that we look at is the intentional growth areas map, and this area is identified as a future or a target growth area. This proposal is within an area in Knightdale where growth is expected and encouraged. We talked about the rural preservation corridor along Old Cruise Road, that this master plan is achieving. This is also within a neighborhood activity center, and as we mentioned, while there's no non-residential, there are a number of characteristics that are being carried through in this proposal. And some of those in particular would be the street and block pattern, a gridded street network with connections to surrounding parcels, open spaces and natural resources. Over half of the site is intended to remain undisturbed or minimally disturbed, with recreational open spaces programmed within those. Building types and massing, they are providing missing middle housing that is defined in the comprehensive plan. Again, transportation improvements and consistency with the transportation network and sustainability with, again, promoting and protecting the natural environment. Of the comprehensive plan guiding principles, this proposal is consistent with the home and neighborhood choices, planned and orderly growth, and inclusive and livable town guiding principles and their definitions as seen here. And they're also consistent with the affordable Knightdale plan by committing to creating more missing middle housing and creating livable neighborhoods, and providing a payment at the time of final plat into the town's Affordable Housing Trust Fund, $200 for each residential unit. When looking at the strategic plan, there are a few elements within that, including ensuring resources are aligned with growth community needs, ensuring multimodal transportation choices, encouraging quality development that ages well over time, and executing the Knightdale Next comprehensive plan. And this is also within the service areas of Wakestone Athletic Park, Knightdale Station Park, and the Community Park and Recreation Center. So all that considered, our staff recommendation would be to approve the rezoning, adopt the ordinance, and to adopt the advisory statement that reads the proposed zoning map amendment is consistent with the Knightdale Next version 2 2035 comprehensive plan, as it is within a target growth area and addresses several of the guiding principles, such as proactively planning for growth and promoting the elements of an inclusive, livable town by expanding home choices. Furthermore, the proposal creates a rural preservation corridor and includes elements of the neighborhood center future place type. The request is reasonable and in the public interest, as it aids in developing a vibrant, sustainable, and safe community design in which people not only desire to visit but also live, work, and play. Be happy to answer any questions about the proposal or our staff analysis if there are any. And again, look at the LURB recommended advisory statement. And that is our recommendation. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Questions or comments?
Well, thank you, Kevin. I think that was a good presentation. I think this is a sort of a challenging project, to say the least, you know, with a lot of the concerns with environmental constraints. You know, for me, it seems like I'm picking up a little bit that it's not necessarily 100% there for us. I think it might make sense that we sort of think about it a little bit. You know, maybe continue the case to our next meeting. Is sort of what I would think we should do in this particular case.
Sure. That's certainly an option as well.
And so I think for discussion with other council members, or we can make a motion if you feel strong enough to make a motion.
Let me say this before we get into the motion. I sympathize with the developer. I know this is a very tight area in terms of the environmental constraints. I think that, you know, and I expressed this during the joint public hearing, it seems considerably constricted to me. I would like to see some way, if possible, some type of rendering that provides some type of landscape design. I know that on the cruise road side, you're keeping in theme with what I think Brio has, but something that breaks up or gives some articulation within the development, because it just feels exceptionally like limited and very asphalt and cement sort of restricted in terms of the housing connection. So that's, I think I just need that visualization, because looking at the plat and looking at the design that we have right here before us, it just doesn't quite give me enough comfort in sort of where we would land, or where I would land on this right now. I want to make certain that we have livable housing and that missing middle and all of that is conducive and also ages well within the scope of all the remaining communities that we have here in Knightdale. And I believe in the ability of this developer to give us a little bit more meat on this bone.
I would fully agree. And, kind of add in there, some of my concerns have been, we've been focused so much on the density and how we're kind of not, it's not quite vibing, that, we haven't had an opportunity to talk about some things like sustainability features in houses that, might make this a unique product. Because, we kind of keep hearing the theme seems to have been, well, this just matches everything around it, which has wound up concerning me that we've got so much of this product that's already approved, whether it's, what is going to make this unique, what's its selling point, whether that's leaning into that neighborhood node, or it's leaning into, the green features, the preservation stuff, the sustainability things that could be included in homes, layout. I just feel like we need more time.
So, Councilor Morgan, I know you had mentioned as far as needing more time, was it your recommendation or?
Well, I can make a motion that I think we should continue this until our next regularly scheduled council meeting in June.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Majority approves. Motion carries. We will continue. Next, we will jump into new business, starting with introduction of bond order. Mr. Morrison.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are here, as you know, we're looking to hold a bond referendum this November. We began the process last month, which is a long process you'll see listed here. So the first set of actions have already occurred. We've adopted the resolution to notice of intent to apply to the LGC. You approved that last month. They have acknowledged the application, and as well as the adoption of the resolution authorizing the app for us to apply. And so all that's come back. We've put out the public notice of intention, and so now we're here for the second set of actions for the bond process. So we are here tonight to introduce the bond order, as well as to request that the council adopt the public hearing resolution, as well as the disclosure of filings. And so within the bond order, what we're doing is stating the amounts of the proposed bond referendum, as well as introducing what we intend to issue or we're requesting the public to vote on, which is a Parks and Recreation bond referendum. In the public hearing that's given the citizens the opportunity to come speak, we will ask that you call the public hearing for the council meeting in June. And then the disclosure, it gives different information. We're going to see that on the next page. So the bond order, I already went through the bond order. It's for Parks and Recreation, for the construction, design, improvement, acquisitions, what have you. The recommend authorization is $55 million referendum, which is what we're looking to hold. Prospective projects, the new community center, which we've spoken about, passive active park, Harper Park, building renovations, skate park, artificial turf, boardwalk replacement, and other parks and recreation related projects. So these are the things that we could potentially spend the authorization on if approved. And again, the public hearing date we're looking at is June 17th. Within going back to the two different things, the statement of debt that we have to file, so we'll be filing a statement of debt. which just lists all of our debt, which includes the proposed referendum that we would like to hold in November. And within that statement, we list our valuation, we list the calculation of what we think the debt to assessed valuation will be. And then we will also be filing or posting the statement of disclosure. And so on the statement of disclosure, what we're listing is information related to the potential estimated interest cost, the estimated interest rate, the term of the bond, which will be 20 years, what we're looking at, the bond amount again, which is the $55 million, which we're looking to hold the referendum for. We disclosed the planned issue dates, and so we're planning for a 28 and a 30, if approved, debt issuance dates, as well as any tax rate impact. All that is laid out in the statement of disclosures that we will have to file with the LGC as well as post. And so the recommended actions for tonight, we're going to ask the town clerk to read the bond order into record. And then once she has read the bond order into record, we're going to ask council to authorize a motion to adopt the resolution, calling for a public hearing on the bond order, directing the publication of the notice of public hearing, as well as filing a statement of debt and the statement of disclosures. Any questions? If not, turn it over to you, Heather.
All right. Good evening. So tonight I wanted to share bond order authorizing the issuance of 55 million general obligation parks and recreation bonds of the town of Knightdale, North Carolina. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Knightdale, North Carolina has ascertained and hereby determines that it is necessary to pay the capital cost of designing, constructing, improving, and renovating parks and recreation facilities, including but not limited to the design and construction of a community center, improvements to existing parks and recreation facilities, the acquisition and installation of furnishings and equipment related thereto, the acquisition of land, right-of-way, and easements in land required therefor, and related public infrastructure development. So this bond order has now officially been read into the record at the May 20th, 2026 Knightdale Town Council meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to adopt the resolution, call for a public hearing on the bond order, and direct publication of the notice of public hearing and filing of statement of debt and statement of disclosure.
I'll do another excited second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Majority approves. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Now, communication strategy update for the bond referendum. Ms. Morris.
All right, I'm going to make this as sweet and painless as possible. What I'm going to offer tonight is just a brief overview of the plan. This will include some things that we'll be asking of you all, so get your TikTok shoes ready, get your outfits ready. We're going to make a couple of Instagram reels and things like that. I'm just joking, not really. But don't say I didn't warn you ahead of time, okay? So tonight we're going to talk about why this bond matters. We're going to talk about our target audience and messaging, and then also looking at our marketing channels and tactics and the marketing timeline. So you have some idea of how everything is going to actually move forward. Now, of course, we all know why this bond matters, but some of the things to think about is that we have 20+ programs that are waitlisted due to the lack of programmable indoor space for us to use in Parks and Rec. We are one of 2 Wake County municipalities that does not have an actual standalone community center. And as of right now, we have a future park survey that is active. So as of Monday at about 10 o'clock, we had 817 responses. One of the questions on the survey actually says, how are you willing to pay for this future park site? And so those options are a project-specific bond, taxes, and then also would not support any bond or tax increase for this project. According to our numbers, we were a little over 65% that were in support of a project-specific bond for that. When we look at why this community center impact is so important, important for us, expanding our educational programs, job training opportunities, youth activities, senior services, wellness opportunities. Also, a place to encourage physical activity, a place for to provide a safe space for our youth, and then also to attract visitors and local investment. We do know what a community center can provide, and also what it can open up for us when we look at local investment with possible tournaments and other events that could potentially come to the Knightdale area. So we're really excited about that. Looking at our park site master plan and marketing, all of this ties in together. So we're in the process of working with McAdams, which you all met them at a previous council meeting. They were selected as a firm for the future park site master plan, which includes marketing and public engagement for the master planning of the park site where the potential community center would be located. And as I mentioned, we have over 870 plus responses, which blew JP's goal of 300 out the water, honestly. When we look at our information sessions that we had the Latin American Festival on the 26th. We had 2 virtual focus sessions on the 13th. We had one at noon and one in the evening. We also they will be out at the African American Festival. We have a community town hall event on the 10th. They will be at the farmers market, and then also the Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting on the 27th. Now, the company that is working with us on our bond referendum marketing, specifically this company were chosen because they have previous experience of working with other municipalities who have been successful in their process. Looking at Granite Sky Creative Group, they do a number of things, but one of the things they do really well is capturing the response from the community, that community engagement, and helping us turn it into something marketable when we look at reaching out to the community. So those public sessions, those forums, they actually were a part of those, and we're listening in so that they can hear directly from the community what it is that they wanted to see, and also they will be provided with the survey data, the raw data, so they can look at that process in creating this moving forward. Looking at our target audience and kind of our key messaging, we're looking at families with children, young adults 18 to 24, I missed it by a year, adults 25 to 55, and then our seniors at 55 plus. Those are our target audiences when we look at breaking them up on how we're going to market to them. Our marketing channels and tactics include digital and social media, so that's Facebook and Instagram ads. You're looking at the town website. We will have a dedicated website specifically for the bond to provide information for people. Also, we will email bond information newsletter out to our Rec Desk and Gov Delivery subscribers. Also looking at reels and short videos from council and PRAB. Okay, it's in the record. We already put it out there, okay? Looking at our print and direct mail, we're looking at a full color mailer to all Knightdale households. We're looking at between 2 to 3 mailers, yard signs distributed through PRAB, also posters in town facilities and businesses, and then informational brochure at town facilities. Our community engagement, we're looking at a town hall information forum, possibly 2, Q&A sessions at existing park and rec events, presentations to PTAs, so that will build in our connection that we have with the schools and reaching the PTAs, because a lot of families will be interested in the park. And also looking at HOAs, block parties, a booth at the Fall Festival and the Farmers Market. Our media and PR, that includes a news release to our local news outlets, interviews with key persons, working with PEG to create an educational segment, and then also radio spots on local TV to actually provide educational information about this. How that marketing timeline lays out of the things that I mentioned. In July, you're looking at launching the website. We're also looking at our social media. When we get to August, this is where our awareness comes in. You're looking at that possible first mailer, our digital ads begin, and then event booths, particularly looking at Arts and Education Festival. September, we're looking at our engagement, so town halls, yard signs out, our next mailer. October, this is when we mobilize, and that's when you're looking at your get out to vote push. You're also looking at your block parties, the mailer wave, radio ads. And then November is when we want looking at the vote. And so when you look at those things, when you think about, okay, what are we gonna do when it comes to our block parties? What are we gonna do at our event booths and things of that nature? Our goal is working directly with PRAB so that we can have those community partners to help us be connected to the community. So when we look at, for example, our block parties, we all have ideas on things we want to do. We got boots on the ground, we got some fan popping, all that other good stuff. What we ask council to do is to take those recommendations to Councilor Morris as our PRAB representative so that we can bring it back to that group and we can have it in one place for that. Also, we are working with PD and Fire and Public Works to include them in the process when we look at some of this community engagement and getting out, reaching people. So this will serve as an opportunity not only about the bond referendum, but also about us being able to reach the community and kind of going out to them so they can meet us and know who we are. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the update. Any questions or comments?
You sped by that real fast. People are supposed to reach out to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to say this is exciting, and I appreciate your work. You know, I've been a part of bond processing and making sure the public's aware, and this is really 5-star. So this is going to be something that I'm truly looking forward to being a part of.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to support the bond referendum, support you in this effort. The first bond I remember voting for in the town of Knightdale was for Knightdale Station Park, and I think that one turned out okay. So this one should be good.
So what I heard was you're going to put all this stuff together in a nice, pretty bow and send it to us to copy, paste, whatever.
Yes,
and
we will make sure that once we get to the point of where we have approved bond language, that's going to be key for us of what will be on the ballot. We will provide you with talking points. Those talking points will be provided to PRAB, also to our staff, and to you all. One of the things, if you've ever heard us talk about one band, one sound, that's really important for us. We want to make sure that we're consistent. We also want to make sure that our goal is to be educational. That's our thing. We need to be educational to provide people with information and make sure they understand this is what this bond is about.
I think the other thing too for us to make sure we're paying attention to is, you know, it's only in-town residents that can vote for the bond, but anyone can support the bond. Yes. And so, I mean, I assume the area is going to be utilizing our parks like they do now, and
Absolutely.
so it's something that we can all support. And also, hopefully the TikTok videos that you're going to be having us in, you'll do the dance instruction.
We have quite a few, actually.
Okay, that's great.
And matching outfits.
So about, and maybe you don't have this answer, but I would assume part of this that makes it very successful in a digital format would also be maybe some renderings or some imagination, you know, of what it could be. How does that align with this time?
So this all falls within the renderings. When we'll get the first one will be around August, maybe the end of July into August. So we've talked about that. That won't show on our marketing timeline, but that's why our dates are the setup the way they are. So by the time we get to July, when we're building that site, we've already talked to McAdams and said that this is what our plan is, this is what we want to happen. So we matched up everything across the two.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for all, thank you for all of the work. This is very exciting to see. And I look forward to the one band, one sound, the messaging that we're able to put out there to see this come to fruition. So, awesome. All right. FY27 budget presentation.
Nothing like presenting the budget after the fun of discussing a bond outreach campaign. Okay, friends, try to keep this under control. I've got about 76 slides, and I'm going to move through this with some pace. Kidding. All right. Let's Kind of funny. All right. So this is the FY27 budget recommendation. So step 2 in the process for us, we'll talk about that as we go through it. It's going to be an encapsulation of the budget work session we had. No real structural changes to it, but you're going to see per state law, this is an important and required step. So this is the FY27 budget recommendation for the fiscal year that will start on July 1, 26 and conclude on June 30 of 2027. So quick process overview here, just as a reminder of how it works and what we're supposed to do in this place. So there is a collection of state statutes in North Carolina that are referred to as the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act. These are codified in Article 3, Chapter 159 of the General Statutes. And really what is very important at its core is we can't do anything financially without a budget being adopted. It is very expressly outlined in state statutes, and it very clearly says that you can't do anything until your budget ordinance is adopted. What I have coached elected officials on over the last 2.5 decades is literally this is one of the very most important activities you do every year. You're adopting a 12-month ordinance here under state law so we can function financially as a local government agency. If we look at the couple very important dates here that are founded in that statute, requests and revenue estimates are due to me as the budget officer for this organization before April the 30th. That is when we kind of huddle up and we start really putting a budget together. There are a series of meetings that happen in there at a staff level and at an elected official level, but really where we get to is this place we are tonight, where the budget and the budget message will be presented. We'll talk about those in just a minute. And then really July 1 is the big date that we all know. You must adopt the budget before July 1st, or no later than July 1st, in order to continue functioning as a local government. The budget itself really is comprised of 2 major components. One is the budget message, and this is my responsibility as the town manager, and under state law, I'm also our budget officer. I am supposed to outline organizational goals, important features of the budget, any major changes in fiscal policy, just basically the narrative that the average citizen and elected official can navigate. This is where my recommendation is, and this is what this budget would be. The ordinance, the legal document itself, it can be in any form under state law, but typically you see a very traditional ordinance structure that serves at the foundation. In today's local government world, we put them in budget books, these very, very comprehensive documents, but at the core of those budget books is the actual ordinance itself, which is the 12-month law that you adopt, and it really outlines revenues, appropriations by department. It has everything in there, so we are being very transparent in how we are handling the public's money as well as their trust. This is where we are right now in our budget adoption process for this year. So where we are tonight is per General Statute 159-12A is I'm gonna give you a budget recommendation. And once this recommendation has been made, it will be open up for public inspection beyond this. There are 3 major milestones that we have to accomplish after this. The clerk, Heather, will go ahead and advise the media that the budget recommendation has been made. She will make them aware that it is available, not just the media, but the public as well. She will set the public hearing date, which we have already set for June the 1st, and make sure that that is advertised appropriately so folks will know when you're going to receive their comments. The budget must be open for at least 10 days after presentation to the council, and that will happen from the period of now through June the 1st of the public, when we have the public hearing itself. And then we are anticipating that unless there are some major changes here, we will put it on your June 17th town council agenda for consideration of adoption. So those are typically the pieces that we mine out of the state statute that highlight where we are and how we've gotten here. Questions on budget process and responsibility? Okay, hang on, about 63 more slides to go. So this is the actual budget recommendation itself, and it is going to be consistent with what we talked about at the budget work session. So the most important thing here, the one thing that everybody wants to know is I am not recommending a property tax increase this year. This is no change from the previous year. My recommendation is to remain at 44 cents per $100 of assessed valuation of real property. So we always kind of want to know in Wake County, and this is such an area of such contention and conflict right now with all the conversations around property tax reform and all of these challenges that we see, well, where do we think governments around us are going to be? Everybody to date in Wake County has made their budget announcements except for the town of Zebulon. We are going to be in a comfortable group of governments that are not recommending property tax increases, but we do see some big movement. Garner's going to make some adjustments upward, Apex, Cary, Fuquay, City of Raleigh. There'll be some budget movement this year. And the question always becomes why, right? Why do you have to do this? Well, the reality is very simply, there's three things here that my peers in the other communities are really challenged with. Number one, the continued cost of goods and services is extraordinary. It is very, very difficult. We are not spared from those costs as public agencies, just like our private citizens aren't as well. There's competition for people in these organizations. There's so many talented local government and state government officials in our backyard. You have to fight to retain your talent. And then there's this huge population influx. We heard the numbers earlier tonight. We are one of the fastest growing communities in this state and in this country. That is a recipe for advanced cost. But my recommendation is to hold that tax rate at 44 cents for another year. At 40, our total assessed valuation currently is just north of $5 billion. So with that valuation at a tax rate of 44 cents, you are looking at a property tax levy next year of about $22.2 million in revenue. So if we take a look at our budget, right, one of the most important things in North Carolina that is not unique, but is the foundation of our state's financial success that we have had historically across the board is General Statute 159-8 says the budget must be balanced. It must be balanced at the time of adoption, and it must be balanced at the close of the fiscal year. So our budget this year is going to increase by about 11%, which is roughly what it increased by last year. This is the impacts of growth. You can see your general fund is going to be around $39.4 million, and if we go down to the bottom, the total budget is a $50.4 million product. If we take a look at the general fund revenues, the things that we really pay very, very close attention to because most of the government services compete in this space. Before we even look at it, on the right-hand side, you can see dependency on property taxes for our revenue stream. Once again, we see about 50 cents of every dollar that comes into this organization is being generated by property taxes. So the top line up there is the ad valorem tax rate, the formal term for property taxes. We can see in FY26 that we generated $20.4 million in property taxes. This year we're going to generate $22.2 million, growth of upwards of 9% in the property tax revenue alone. This is the construction coming to market. This is the new revenues being generated through the development approvals. As we kind of navigate our way down through this, you can kind of see things here that make a lot of sense. One of the things that really stood out to me as I was getting briefed on this and we were looking at the numbers is under permits and fees. Well, my goodness, we're going to go from $605,000 to a little over $1 million. What that tells me is the managers, there's a whole lot of construction coming our way, and we anticipate to really feel a big brunt of it in the upcoming year. Another number that stands out to me, based on what Rachel just said to you about the bond outreach packages, recreation is going to grow by 32%. And we know that that 32% growth rate there could be much higher if we had the adequate facilities to house the needs of our citizens. So what we see here is total financial growth in the general fund of just under 10%, going from about $40.5 million to about $44.5 million. General fund expenditures, where are we spending our money in the general fund? Well, on the right-hand side, we can see of the $44 million, about $24.45 million goes into our people. A little over $9 million goes into the operation provisions. There are professional services in here at $2.86 million. We've got some capital outlay projects coming in at a little over 2.7, and debt service for the upcoming year is going to be $5 million. If we look at the departments themselves, these numbers will change, right? The one number in here that does stand out, we had said that we were not going to do the funding of the new debt service model. So if you look at that interfund transfer out, going from $1.14 million down to $305,000, that's the reason for that decline in that space. But once again, seeing an FY27 budget pretty consistent across the board with where the dollars and cents will be spent, growth at 9.86%. If you want to look at it through this graphic, you can see what we've always seen. Number one, what I love about this graphic is it really doesn't change. I like stability, I like predictability, I like for things to be consistent year after year. The huge levy of who we are as an organization is police, fire, and public works. That is where the bulk of the investments of our citizens' tax dollars go. Now, the remaining departments are extraordinarily important, but the levy of who we are as a municipal local government in North Carolina is provided in our frontline services. And for the town of Knightdale, that is defined through police, fire, and public works. Another way to look at it is like this. For every tax dollar that we receive, how does that tax dollar get divided up? Well, 22 cents on every tax dollar that comes in next year will go directly to the police department. 22 cents will go to the fire department. 14 cents will go to public works. 7 cents will go to recreation. 10 cents on every dollar next year will go to our debt service. And then all of the other remaining services combined, we typically call them collectively support services, 25 cents will fund their operations. But that is a literal representation of what the tax dollar division will look like in the upcoming fiscal year. And if we were to go back last year and the year before, you'd see consistency, right? You see marginal changes on the edges with where the tax dollar is invested. So the people are the most important part of the organization. It's where we spend the bulk of our money, and they are obviously the experts and the servants who really take care of this community at this level. So we start with them like we do every year. So in the upcoming budget, I'm recommending funding 10 new positions, no change from when we had the budget work session. This will encompass an administrative assistant in human resources department. We will welcome our first IT manager to the town of Knightdale. We will have an accounting specialist in finance, a maintenance worker in public works, and we will welcome 6 new employees to the fire department, 3 lieutenants and 3 firefighters. Those 6 positions are foundational to prepare for the final company of firefighters that will come online this fall. Let's not forget we have 2 very large fire trucks that'll be here in the next couple months to kind of continue our legacy and our commitment to public safety first. In addition to the 10 new position requests, I'm recommending the reclassification of 4 existing positions to kind of meet the way our organization is growing. So what this really comes down to is about 5.5% workforce growth, which is pretty consistent, right? We've had some big years, and we've had some years where we haven't quite grown that much, but we are seeing a continued growth of our workforce. Things that I want you to be aware of. COLA and merit are recommended. So 3% cost of living to offset the cost of the increased cost of living. It helps to keep the salaries as relevant and market fresh as they can be. Merit funding is pay for performance. We do up to a 4% maximum. We've historically always done that under my tenure, both COLA and merit. I am recommending them again. Drivers of the budget where cost is getting expensive. The mandated retirement contributions continue to go up. So general employees will go from 14.37% to over 15% in the upcoming year. And our law enforcement officers will continue to see their retirement contributions increase from over 16% to now 17.1%. One number that we are very fortunate on, grateful to Suzanne and Marcy for working hard in this space, is our health insurance premium costs will only increase 7.4% in the upcoming fiscal year, and we will maintain all of the benefits in our current provider. There will be no change in that space. What we will do to compensate for that increase in the health insurance premiums is our monthly health insurance credit per employee will go from $750 to $780 per employee per month. What this means essentially is this, is at local government, we are fortunate that we have a legacy of providing benefits at no cost to our employees. We will continue to do that for the employee, and then we have options where you can add dependents. Obviously, that is not fully funded at our cost, but we will continue the investments in providing for cost of living, providing pay for performance for high achievers, making sure we meet our commitments to retirement, and then we will make sure that we provide insurance 100% for the employees of this organization. That is the bulk of where the money will be spent in FY27. But there are other things that warrant some serious consideration as well. The major capital projects for FY27. Typically, those projects that live in a project ordinance and they can flow from fiscal year to fiscal year, we've got several of them out there. Actually realized, I think we might have omitted, we probably could have put the fire trucks on here as well, considering the tiller and the engine haven't been delivered. But regardless, what you're seeing is a continued investment in infrastructure and public safety. The Law Enforcement Center is rapidly coming to the first phase of its completion, I guess is the best way of looking at that, when the police side of it will be done. And then by Christmas, maybe winter, we'll see the fire side of the administrative wing for the fire department be done. But that building is still a major capital project that we're working under. We have major pedestrian underway right now on the Boulevard and Old Knight. Those improvements are currently under construction and will be a portion of what we have in FY27 as well. We're going to continue to invest heavily in fire like we have. The community center and the replacement of fire station number 2 are 2 of our highest facility priorities that we have. Relocating that station from downtown into a modern fire station, which has become who we are, is very important. So that project hopefully will come online in a construction level phase sometime in the upcoming fiscal year. We are going to do some exterior improvements to fire station number 3. That was a station that we inherited and took over as a part of the merger. The inside's awesome. It's been totally renovated. The outside's still not what we do for the excellence of our facilities. We're going to get that station to where it needs to be. And as exhausting as it sounds, we've got money in this budget because we need to find property for fire station number 5, which is a handful of years out in front of us from now. We have 2 major transportation projects here that are going to come into play as well. The Wide Waters extension, that bridge over the railroad, remains the highest transportation priority for us as a local government. It's clearly identified in our CTP. The design work will be done in the upcoming year for that project. And then we have additional design and right-of-way acquisition for sidewalks on Smithfield and First Avenue. So looking at about $3.6 million in major capital investments. If we look at the CIP program, we're looking at things that are more than $10,000 that will be completed within the upcoming year. This is an area where we have made good investments, right? There's a lot of really good work that gets done year in and year out here. Next year, the recommendation is $2.1 million. Highlights, not all of it, public art, which has become a really a big part of who we are. It's well received by our citizens. There is a boulevard study that we will provide the financial match that Campo will provide the bulk of the financing for. There's money in here for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. There's money in here for the Vision Zero Trust Fund as well. Vehicle acquisitions in the major departments, most notably here, Public Works and absolutely police on the other side of the ledger. A new dump truck, Lord knows they get more expensive every year, but this one's going to come with a plow and a spreader. Excellent. One of the things that never fails, every year the budget comes out, somebody asks for something, I have no idea what they're talking about. And this year's winner was the articulating loader. I thought Philip was joking. I was like, man, are you being serious? He's like, yeah. So there's an articulating loader coming. Please don't get me to try to explain what it is, but it is one of the top equipment purchases that Public Works needs. We have the Centennial Clock Tower, which is under contract now. That will be a part of our 100-year anniversary that we will celebrate next year. We've got comprehensive equipment replacements that it's hard to list out everything in this space. And we have Harper Park improvements coming. So we have the property in which we will destroy the house, expand the parking lot, and we will be resurfacing the tennis courts in the upcoming year. I mentioned the vehicle additions to police in addition to the vehicle replacement program that they have. And then we have one specific Vision Zero program that we're recommending at the budget's start, which is improving the bus stop for McKnight Drive. So if we take a look at where general fund restricted, which is typically the repaving program, we've got $622,000. That is a restricted fund where we're going to do our portion of paving local streets and street repairs in that program. State pass-through fund from the gas tax, that is a program that we stay in front of as best we can. Stormwater, which is our only enterprise fund at this stage, we're going to invest an additional roughly $1.6 million in that program. Highlights will be this. The lower pond at Knightdale Station Park needs to be rehabilitated. That will be one of the projects we will accomplish. We still have 2 major stormwater projects outstanding that we want to complete. We've got 2, or 1 recently completed and 1 under construction now. Going into FY27, the improvements on Poplar Street and the improvements on Flower Street will be major stormwater investments. We will complete and adopt our first stormwater master plan as a community, and then there is a need for a wash station at the park and the stormwater is a very, very eligible funding source for that as well. So, it's a lot, right? You look at the budget books these days, like the budget books are like 100, 150 pages long. They're just these huge documents. They're very data rich, but they're just hard to really navigate. And every year I'm trying to challenge myself, like if I'm the manager of this organization and I'm trying to carry out the will of this council and look out for the operational needs of this staff, how do I help the average citizen understand how we take your tax dollar very seriously in the delivery of our services to you as an organization? So the best place to go in Knightdale, the best place to go for any local government is to your core values. The strategic plan here identifies 5 core values, focus areas as we like to call them. We're going to be safe, we're going to be connected and inclusive, we're going to be sustainable, we're going to be active and healthy, and we're going to have the organizational excellence, the right men and women working for this organization that know what they're doing. That is the foundational blueprint of who we are and who we want to be. It is what our citizens have told us is most important to them year in and year out. Okay, well, let's dig into this and see what we're doing. Commitment to service delivery, organizational excellence. We're going to meet the operational needs of these departments. While we can't meet every single need of every department, what we will do is we will meet operational needs in a way that will ensure that we can continue to meet the challenges of growth and what we see around us. We're going to welcome 10 new employees, and we're going to take care of the men and women who work here through cost of living adjustments and merit. We're going to maintain our commitment to public safety, that safe value. We're going to finish that law enforcement center. We're going to acquire land for to relocate station number 2. We're going to make sure the police department has their fleet that they deem they need to keep our citizens safe. And we're going to welcome 2 great big fire trucks here in just a couple months. Quality of life investments, commitment to pedestrian improvements on the public's dollar as well as through the exactions of the development community, and a growing commitment and investment in the public art space. If we look at the local economy, right, this is a big part of what we talk about in inclusivity and being a part of a community. We'll continue to support our own Commerce Alliance. And this year, I'm recommending that we bring back the Grants and Aid Program. There's $25,000 in there for financial support to area agencies that advance the values of who we are as a community. And if you want to fund that, then I will walk through program dynamics with you after the budget is adopted, but that's your program. Who you choose to award, and then at a staff level, how we make those awards and then track that the dollars are used in accord. Commitment to inclusivity and accessibility. We've got a real emphasis here on our future transportation priorities year in and year out. And then finally, environmental stewardship. That stormwater program continues to grow year after year, and we're starting to see demonstrative impact of it keeping our community safe. We welcome a new employee tonight in that program. So a lot of good things in this space, things that I think as elected officials, as staff, we should be proud of. And I hope that our citizens would share that as well. So as we hit slide 76, Councilor Evans, this is where we are. This is my recommendation to you. It is based on your strategic retreats, my conversations with you, what I think your goals and priorities are as a council. It is based on internal conversations that we have the different departments, their departmental retreat, and the things that we hear they need. Once this budget is presented to you, it is now open for public inspection. The media can ask any questions they would like of me as well. But really, I'll answer any questions you might have tonight. But the next big milestone for us will be June the 1st, when we hold the public hearing in this room, ahead of consideration of adoption on June the 17th. What questions?
So when you're talking about this is going to be opened up for the public, so you're saying that most budgets have 150 pages. What will the public see? Is that sort of boiled down? Or?
Yeah, I'm real proud of our communication strategy here, right? There's a budget book, right? Let's be clear. Like, this is the most important thing we do as local governments, right? But you can't just hide everything in a budget book. Now, Antoine does a great job on the budget book, and it's exceptional. And I don't know, how many pages is that thing? Do you know? It's a lot. It's a lot. I was looking at the counties today, and I was like, whoa. But we will also have it broken out into subcomponents. There's a webpage dedicated to this budget where the manager's message will be separate, the ordinance will be separate. We will put things out in a way that is logical and self-explanatory. But for people, perhaps like yourself, who would like to read the entire budget book, you can have at it.
All right. Any additional questions?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Summers. And next is advisory board and committee reports. Are there any reports on any advisory board meetings or committees? All right.
Just one quick note. I heard at Campo today, if anybody's, maybe not as many of us, travel down towards Old Garner Road, that section, but as it sort of crosses where 540, the continuation of 540, as that's continued being under construction, that's due for a road closure, a 45-day road closure, and there'll be some detours set up. So I know probably not a lot of us go in that direction, but just sort of FYI, there'll be a detour, but it just, you know, that thankfully that job's continuing to move along.
All right, thank you for the update. All right. If there are none others, at this point, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Majority approves. Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you all this evening.